Months ago, the Batwoman Writers Room official Twitter account was begging fans to sign a petition and tweet about the show so that hopefully it would get renewed. They were so hopeful that the CW would go for one more season, even though the show had terrible ratings and viewership numbers. But now, the Twitter account has decided to come out and say, you know what, who cares about viewership or reviews? It didn't deserve the pushback it got, and it only deserved to receive positive feedback because of the representation the show provided to audiences. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I wanted to start with this Bounding Into Comics article. It says Batwoman Writers Room gets savaged after they claim the CW's Batwoman should only receive positive feedback because of strides for representation for queer Black women. The Batwoman Writers Room took to Twitter to declare that the now canceled Batwoman show on the CW should only be receiving positive feedback because it made strides for representation for queer Black women. And this is what they decided to say. In a tweet on May 23rd, they said comments trying to detract and deflect from the impact, safety, representation, happiness, and hope that Batwoman brought Black women can be seen to the door and left behind. It's 2022, be better. In a follow-up tweet, they added, calling a show that made strides for representation for queer Black women anything but positive is an attempt to change the narrative. And it's time we stop letting those who don't matter have the stage. Let the Black women have the floor. They want people to just ignore the fact that it was a terrible show, plain and simple. They want people to consume product, demand a new season, and praise the previous ones for the diversity and inclusivity it had, which is absurd. While yes, diversity and inclusivity are selling points for some people, it can't be the only thing your show has, and it was for Batwoman. The writing was horrendous, the acting was bad, the CGI was of course CW levels of trash, the suits didn't look amazing, and overall it was just a bad product, and no amount of diversity or inclusivity changes that. And to say no one should be able to criticize the problems it has is so ridiculous. If this show came out and it was good, the viewers would be there, the ratings would be there, but that is why the CW ultimately canceled it, because they weren't making money from it. They were not getting viewership, the ratings were awful, people were roasting the show every time they would post about it on social media, every time people saw ads, they would probably laugh at them. Overall, it was just a very terrible show. It's unfortunate for the writers, for the producers, for the executives, for everyone who is behind the project. Obviously, it's negative for them, but for consumers, it doesn't really matter because it just wasn't good. Now, they very clearly think that representation is a selling point for consumers, and that's why they deserved another season. But every company is doing this now. They have this list of things that they want to attempt to check off in their series. That's all the companies care about anymore. Every company is doing what Batwoman did, and some companies 10 times better. It's just that simple. Maybe they should have demanded a higher budget, said they needed better CGI. Maybe this writer's room should have gotten together and worked on the writing, because the writing was garbage. I mean, there was nothing going for the show. I watched all 3 seasons. I tried to give it a chance, and there was just nothing here worthwhile. It says, when one user replied, "We love you so much, they don't deserve you," the writer's room said, "They don't have me. Who has me are the black women who have continuously said that this show is important to them, more than I will ever know, and for that I am not letting them sit by and handle the fight alone." Heel vs. Babyface said, "Your show was shit. The stories were garbage. Representation is no substitute to good storytelling, and to hide behind it shows your cowardice and inability to take responsibility yourselves. You were lucky to get 3 seasons. You didn't even deserve 1. Nina Infinity said, "You can have all of the representation you want. It will never substitute for bad writing and bad characters. In fact, you did your representation a disservice with your trash script. Why not give her something to work with and be successful? The blame is on you." Clearly, you can all tell that they are getting absolutely roasted on social media. I mean, I think that it's hilarious that they're saying such ridiculous things because this happens. They get roasted for it, and they deserve to get roasted for it. They want everyone to ignore all of the bad with the show and just focus on what they think is the most important part of it. Somebody said, "You had the floor and no one listened. We saw the ratings. You chose politics and divisiveness over good storytelling, and in the end, that is the bed you have chose to sleep in. The blame lies at your feet and no one else's." So you're basically blaming everyone but you for not only making a terrible show, but pretty much not taking any sort of responsibility since no one liked this show. Not even the people you tried pandering to. And it's true, no one showed up to watch this show. I mean, if we go over to social media, season 1 for Batwoman had a 16% audience score, and maybe we could blame it on Ruby Rose and the writers because things did change. We got a new actress in season 2. We did get some new writers. But even with season 2, it didn't get any better. It said a 19%, and of course, critics ate this show up. But nobody liked this series. The people you made this show for didn't show up to give it reviews. They didn't show up to watch it. It's no surprise why the CW canceled it. I just wanted to show off a couple of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for season 2. There aren't a lot of reviews for season 3. It did only end a few weeks ago, but not a lot of people showed up to review it, even people that didn't like it. Somebody gave it a half star and said, "As if the first season was awful enough, they add worse acting and worse writing. Total trash." 1.5 stars. "This season was just more of season 1, and it continued to get more and more off the rails in a bad way." Somebody gave it a 5 star and said, "Wow, Batwoman Ryan is perfect. I was so worried when Ruby left the show, but Yavaka is playing no games and fully embraced the character. I couldn't ask for a better casting. The show's diversity is still something that makes me very happy. The plot/storyline has a few holes in it, I suppose left due to the main actor changing after 1 season. So if you're saying there are problems, why would you give it 5 stars? That makes absolutely no sense." 1.5 stars. "Okay, premise absolutely ruined by over-the-top woke plots. The social justice underwriting is enough to make the audience nauseous. This is a show you leave on in the background when you simply need white noise. Half star, bruh, I found this on the best 2021 TV shows list." Clearly, there are not a lot of people who like the show. There's not a lot about it that was good. The CGI was bad. Costumes were bad, sets were bad, writing was bad, acting was bad. There's nothing positive that I could take out of this series. But at the end of the day, yes, the CW did cancel it because people were not showing up to watch it, people didn't like it, and now, of course, the Batwoman's writers' room has gotten absolutely roasted after saying, the representation was all this series needed. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.